Okay, so for anyone who might not be aware, so we had to do a 30-day screenwriting challenge that all of us can take part in. And at the start of each month, we're given 3 prompts that you have to include in your screenplay. So for this month that we just did, that Aisha had to use, it had to be set at a party. A character must tell a lie, and a bet is made. And it can't be any longer than 10 pages. So those 3 things has to be included in the screenplay. So it's quite a hard challenge. I don't know if you guys have done something like this in the past, but I think when you've got
Yeah,
these restrictions, it can be really difficult to come up with something with a good idea. Um,
yeah.
just before we go any further, Aisha, do you want to just give a quick summary of what your story is about and how you came up with this story?
Yeah, Heartstrings Haste is a story about a struggling single mother. She has a child who needs a heart surgery, an open heart surgery, and she's really struggling. Then when she goes out to her friend, she finds out that there is some wealthy woman that is going to join that party, and then she decides to, she learns that that wealthy woman is having a meeting with some doctor who is a cardiologist, because that wealthy woman also has a like a grandchild who
Hmm.
has a problem with his, like, he has asthma, he's asthmatic, so he needs lung surgery. So when Charlotte, that's the struggling single mother, learns about this, she poses as the cardiologist uh, to steal to steal from this wealthy woman, and
Yeah.
then she succeeds and she thinks, oh, it's easier. I didn't even have to use much effort to take all her money. Then this asthmatic child gets an attack in front of her. She's stuck. She's not a doctor. She has no knowledge about anything about, like, the attack. She's not a doctor, she's an imposter. Yeah, so she suffers like a life to death threat at the moment, the panic, the tension, to escape. But the whole idea of Heartstrings Haste, as the title is, Heartstrings is, we talk about people we love. Everyone in this story has the people that is so dear to them,
Hmm.
uh, that forces them to do the wrong things, like stealing, which is the haste. So
Yeah.
everyone apart from this old wealthy woman, the bet and the grandchild is a thief.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone, like in this story, is looking for a way to steal from this woman, but everyone has a reason why they are doing so, which is for their loved ones. Yeah.
Mm.
So I came out with the idea. I just got an idea that there is a time we all have to do bad things for our loved ones just to save them, and then we end up in messing with ourselves in
Yeah.
the process. Yeah. So that's the whole idea of Heartstrings Hist. At first, the idea was a short, but then I got a bigger picture to make
Oh,
it uh, a series, because I feel
Oh,
nice.
all these characters have a life that needs to be, like, explored further.
They're
Yeah,
interesting characters. I can tell you that
yeah,
they're good
yeah.
characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
especially the spoon. I like the spoon.
Oh, Spawn is a
Yeah,
gambler.
he's like an all-known, like an
Uh-huh.
all-known character. Like, huh? Would you say? Would you say, Ollie? He's like
Mm-hmm.
what
knows it.
spoon?
Spoon. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
talk
Spawn
about him in a
Niles.
minute.
Yeah. Actually, initially, this script was 15 minutes, the short, but I had to cut it down to 10 pages, as the prompt was
Okay.
saying. Yeah, but
Okay.
it has a wider part of it. This pilot is a bit longer. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's interesting because like you said, like I was saying, we've only got 10 pages. So you said you wrote it to 15 and then you had to cut it down. Do you find it quite difficult when you have to cut things down, would you say?
Aisha,
Oh, no, she's gone. I thought that was me for a minute.
she's freed.
Oh, okay. Well, she'll be back in a minute. Um, but yeah, when I was reading this, I don't know about you, Saeed, but I thought this was a comedy. I thought this was really funny because of how
Yeah,
ridiculous the situation is of the
yeah. Like
screenplay.
everybody is like everybody is pranking, not pranking actually, just using themselves to get the money.
Yeah.
I mean, like I like the part that Charlotte says
I
Spoon
shoot
that
like this.
oh, she went
Was that her?
she went out. No,
Oh,
she
she
went out.
left.
Yeah. So for example, Charlotte tells Spoon that the lady does. She's gonna come to the hospital physically, and then she's gonna
Yeah.
pay. But then we hear from the lady that she wired the money to Charlotte's account, and like in the end, we know that all this has been a master plan by Spoon. That was funny. It was something like a blockbuster.
No, exactly. And we'll, for everyone who hasn't read it yet, we'll read through it now together so you guys know what we're talking about. Aisha, are you back? Oh, you're muted, Aisha.
You muted, Aisha.
Yeah, I just had network issues on my side, but I'm back, thank God.
Please stay with
Yeah,
us.
yeah. I just had the idea. I was like thinking about Spoon and Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Spoon and Charlotte went to the same school in the junior,
Oh,
but Charlotte at the moment doesn't remember Spoon. Spoon was a child that was bullied by Charlotte and her group, Charlotte and Josh. And Spoon went to the same school, so they bullied Spoon in the childhood because he had a bald head. So yeah, they called him names. Yeah, that's how he
okay.
got even the name of Spoon. Yeah, but at the moment in the adulthood, they don't remember this child because he has followed them all through their lives. That's why he knows everything they are up to at every stage.
Oh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you don't explain all of this though, do you, in the script?
No, it has to be in the next episodes because this was just the introduction. But I'm just giving you the backstory of these characters, why they are behaving the way they are behaving.
Yes, and do you know what? One of the things that I really liked about the script, is that you don't give all the information away to the audience. And I think when you're writing a short screenplay,
Yeah.
you don't have to tell the audience every bit of information. And we can talk about this more
Yeah.
as we're reading through this. I can give examples. But when I got to the end, I
Yeah.
thought, oh, we never find out who Spoon really is. But then you explain this is like a whole
Yes.
series you're thinking about doing, so that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So okay,
Yeah.
so shall we start reading through the first page, and then as we're reading, we can like continue talking about these different things.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so it starts with fade in an interior luxurious hotel / poolside. So just remember, it has to be set at a party. So she does this. So reserved
Yeah.
tables with name tags, Spoon miles. I'm guessing that means 40s. He's in his 40s.
Yeah, the age. Yeah.
Age. Do you think it's important to establish every character's age in a screenplay?
At some moment, it's important when we want for the casting director
Yeah.
to know what exactly the age range to cast for that role.
Yeah, you don't need this specific age, but at least 40s or 50s or 20s, like what
40s
you've
in
done
that
here.
range. Yeah, she can be 30, but looking in 40s. So it's as long as you can get that 40s.
Yeah.
40ish. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna keep reading, and guys, if you have any points as I'm reading, just cut in and say stuff. So Spoon Miles, 40s, a famous gambler in a cowboy hat and suit, smokes a cigar. A briefcase sits on the floor. Across the pool is a temporary bar filled with all kinds of expensive wines and spirits. Soft jazz music plays in the background. Bartender Josh, 20s, arms tattooed, cleans a bottle. So already here, this sets the scene. Would you guys say this is all she had to write to set the scene for the first few lines? It's nice and concise. You don't need to over-explain anything. You get the idea.
She talks about she says the sound. She talks
Yeah.
about the clothes. She talks about people around. At the top of my head, no, I say it would be enough. We're not.
Yeah, exactly.
She
So
could
with
be
action
more
lines,
concise.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I'm just telling it. So I don't have any. I don't have any. You know. I don't have.
I always want not to be over descriptive. So as long as I have what is most important to the story. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's a mistake a lot of new screenwriters make, is they over explain too much.
Yes.
A really good screenwriter is, in my opinion, is very concise, but also whilst
Clear.
being concise, you can see the film,
Yes.
you can see the movie in your head.
Yeah, it's vivid. Yeah.
And you do a really good line here, actually. I'll read it. So Charlotte, mid-30s, stands on the counter finishing a shot. She wears a tight top exposing her boobs, tight body hugging skirt, her hair puffed with 2 ponytails like a living Barbie. I love that. Like a living Barbie. That's a really
Yeah.
cool line.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows the
Yeah.
Barbie. Everybody knows Barbie.
Yeah, now,
So when they say
so now
that,
this is where it comes to using metaphors when you're writing, like to avoid over being descriptive, like being
Mm,
it's overwriting in the action lines. You can use metaphor to describe your character. Yeah, so
exactly.
here is metaphor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Exactly.
Yeah.
So Lebet Meyers, 70s, pushes Rambo. Rambo's a cool name, by the way. 20s in a movie.
Actually, I wanted to name this character Rambo because he's already weak. Uh, he's already
Yeah,
weak.
it's
Yeah,
ironic.
he's sick. He's in a wheelchair. He's helpless. He can't talk. Then I named him Rambo. Rambo, we know all the Rambo. The other who punches us. Yeah.
yeah,
So it's
Rambo
like,
is a
like being
irony.
controversial.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 That would only work if someone knew what the Rambo films were about, though.
That
Yeah.
is true. That is true. Yeah, but they're quite
Yeah.
iconic for most. I think
Yeah.
most
So,
people.
Well,
this is,
First Blood is, the others not so much.
No, that's true. Yeah, they're old films as well, actually. So, no, but I do give you credit, Aisha. You're very good at naming your characters, and I think when people are writing characters, like have fun with them. Don't make them all generic and boring. You can
yeah.
really explore different things.
Yeah.
And having a name. Didn't you say, Aisha? Was it a week ago when I asked about how you come up with names? You think of meanings behind the names. Is that
The
what you said?
meanings and then the personality of the character. Now,
Yeah.
when I see this character is already helpless and vulnerable, I want to give him a name that maybe gives him some power. It's like indirectly, it's like mocking him, but directly you're giving him like some strength to be someone, to not be like useless in a story.
Exactly. No, I think that's a really cool way to look at it because I struggle with coming up with names sometimes. So just think about their personality and what fits their personality.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lebet pushes Rambo in a wheelchair. Lebet and Rambo push to a table reserved for CEO Lebet's mayor. Josh glazes at Lebet. So Charlotte says, "Who is she?" Lebet's mayor,
Yeah.
astonished. "Of the mayor group of companies. How did you know?" "I got a TV, idiot. She lost all her family in a plane crash 3 months ago." "Apparently she didn't lose all family. She has Rambo now." "How?" Whispering. I like how you changed to whispering because it's like it just fits
Yeah.
with the
Like they're
rhythm. It just
Yeah.
makes sense. She recently
Yeah.
reunited with him. Her late daughter had abandoned him because of Down syndrome. Fix your TV, bitch. Tell me more. It's very genuine. The conversation is good.
Actually, it shows the relationship between these two characters that they know each other
Exactly.
without telling directly. Yeah.
Exactly, because it's giving us information about the plot, but it's also revealing character through
The character traits and the relationship.
Yeah, because like I was saying, like leave the audience to put 2 and 2 together. You don't need to explain everything. We
Yeah.
can already understand that they know each other well based on their interaction
Mm.
with each other.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, where were we? Tell me more. Lebet's fortune is worth $2 billion, and in case she dies now, everything goes to Rambo. He hit a jackpot, man. Charlotte leaning in. Have you ever made a bet you knew you couldn't win? Smirking. Depends on the stakes. Eyes on a bet. I can take a half of that fortune. How about this? I bet you can't convince her to trust you with all that money. And already, by the end of page 2, we've got the setup of the story, which is what I really like about this script. Especially with a short film, you want to jump straight into the plot, in my opinion. You want to go straight into the story. And I think because one of the things you have to do for the challenge is a bet must be made. And I like what you did here, Aisha, how you established the bet really early on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Charlotte frees her ponytail. The long blonde hair falls on her shoulders, ties her top button, pulls her skirt down to the knees, gets her leather jacket from the seat, puts it on. Her look is completely changed to an elegant woman. Grabs her purse. I like that, how she completely changes her look.
Yeah.
It kind of suggests like she's done this before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Raising an eyebrow. Watch me. She walks with confidence, aiming at Lebet's table. Josh scans the place, considering the challenge. Josh, deal, but you owe me 10%. Charlotte shows Josh a middle finger from behind her back. Josh smiles. Yeah, that's pretty good. So it sets up the scene pretty well. So now we know. So it's very straightforward. We know what's going on. Now in page 3, this is where the stakes gets raised. And I always say this to people: you want to keep raising the stakes as your stories unfolds. And here you do this. So as she walks, she's interrupted by Spoon. So this is the first time we interact with Spoon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excuse me, miss. I'm not single. I like that.
May I interject with a couple things I've
Yeah.
noticed for
Yeah,
this
go on.
script. One, I've noticed that like quite a few lines like this, like I'm not single, especially from Spoon. Like he speaks like I'm Spoon Miles, or like he, like a lot of lines that would have it would have said, that would have been like written like I am, or just like am, like was that like intentional, or like a or like a dialogue choice?
And I'm not sure about that, but it could be a grammar issue. But I wanted to like you're introducing yourself to someone. I don't know if you say I am or am.
Typically, I use I am, or I'm.
Yeah, I think it's I am.
Or I'm, or just
Yeah.
I apostrophe M.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah,
for that, Chris.
Yeah, you.
But with the amount of times you did it, I assumed it was like a style
But
choice
I
or
thought,
something.
this is
No,
how.
I'm not good in English.
Aisha,
I'm right. It's a foreign language.
Aisha, when I talk to you, personally, privately, in WhatsApp and everywhere, you exactly talk like this. So I thought it's like a cultural thing. Like in Uganda, when people speak English, they do not use the preposition. I don't know if it's a right for
Yes,
for
we
it.
don't use I am. We say am.
Yeah. Okay. So
That makes sense.
That's why. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stavik says, where did you get the idea of formatting dialogue like that?
Oh. All right.
Yeah, and am is the slang language, exactly. Yeah.
Huh.
So how do you format dialogue like this? So I was going to say I write using Final Draft, and automatically it formats the dialogue like this because this is how
me
it's
too.
professionally supposed to look. You can use Fade In. There's another program called Fade In that you can use for free that also formats dialogue like this, and there's probably other softwares as well. Charlotte says, "I'm not single." Spoon stands in front of her. Spoon, eyes on Lebet. That's my prey. So I love that line. It's so straight to the point.
Yep.
And at this point, I don't know what you guys thought, but I was thinking, who's this Spoon? Like, who's this guy? How does he know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sums him up pretty well.
Yeah. He's a good character.
Like he's like a sharp guy, you know. He's like, I don't know. I just picture him like wearing a suit and a tie. I don't know.
And a cowboy hat.
It just came to my mind.
Yeah. Okay, so Charlotte smiles underminingly. A table next to Spoon's has a tag with Dr. Coutine's name. A Spoon giving her a handshake. I'm Spoon Miles. Charlotte ignores the hand, her eyes stationed on Lebet. Your mum and dad chose that name for you. I will take that as a compliment, but Lebet is mine. Let's talk. Spoon sits. Charlotte leaning in. What if I say no? Spoon, your son needs an emergency open heart surgery, and your landlord sent you an evacuation note this morning. You're in no position to say no. See, I love that because it's raising the stakes. If this bit of backstory wasn't here, we wouldn't care for Charlotte getting that money or not.
Yeah.
It's important we have this bit. Do you guys agree?
Yeah. Good thing. Good thing you threw in the whole surgery and eviction note thing, or evacuation note, as you put it.
Yeah.
If you don't put that in, you don't really care if she gets the money or not. If anything, you're hoping she tells it.
Now we get to care for the character.
Exactly. Because really on the surface, Charlotte's a bit of a bitch. She's evil. But this bit of backstory kind of helps us be on her side.
And now she goes from evil to just desperate.
But I wanna ask you guys something. I like how Aisha puts the stakes here for Charlotte. But I wanna ask you guys something. So how would you say that? How would you show that without dialogue? how would you show that Charlotte
Mm.
has the emergency son, the surgery and the evacuation? How would you, if in this context, how would you show it by not
Now,
telling a dialogue?
Good question.
Spoon, seeing how he's fabricated name tags and has wired up and is able to like wire up a phone. Clearly, he's probably good at like technology, so maybe he
Yeah.
could bring up like a phone or a computer showing that he's been following Charlotte for a while. You could add like him being like a
Mhm.
voyeur of sorts to his list of slimy traits.
Okay.
Yeah, something
Thank you
visual
for
to
it.
look at, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
like
he's
in the phone.
Okay.
yeah, like he's and like this goes from like a while back, like he saw Charlotte and was like, okay, how can I use her? Like he's been following her a while, figured out all he needs to know.
Yeah.
Now he sees her here, and he's like, all right, game time.
Yes,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of exposition here. But like when we go back to thinking that this is maybe the first episode, we could see it later.
Yeah. There's so much
Yeah.
you can do, Aisha. I really hope you continue writing this. Quick question, how far have you gotten past this script? How much more have you written past the 10 pages, Aisha?
On this, yeah, so far I have so far on this, on the second episode, I'm working on the second episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then a
good.
different script. Yeah.
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 Oh, nice. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Now I'm really looking forward to hearing like your progress with this. I think this is really cool. Okay, so what if I say no to your
Mhm.
son needs an emergency open heart surgery, blah blah blah. Who are you? Spoon.
Yeah, I think at the end I'll tell you a bit what's in episode 2, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Tell us at the end. Yeah. Okay. Spoon. I'm someone who
Yeah.
watches everyone's moves. You come here 3 times a week, and that idiot at the bar screws you from the toilet once every week.
That's the last time that Josh has even
Oh my
mentioned.
So
God.
now at this moment we're like showing some. Everyone has secret.
Aisha, do we see Josh again in the next episode? Does he come back?
Who?
Yeah,
Josh?
Josh.
Yeah, Josh goes all through the script. Yeah, Josh is a very strong character in this hit stuff.
Okay.
Because he also wants the money. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because yeah, like you say, Chris, because we see him at the start and then he doesn't appear again, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now getting Charlotte's attention, Charlotte sits beside him. What do you want? Spoon.
Mhm.
Rambo has respiratory issues and Libet is scheduling a surgery through Dr. Coteen here today. Charlotte pays attention to the table reserved for Dr. Coteen. Charlotte, are you police or FBI? I'm someone who only cares about money and has a plan.
Mhm.
Charlotte and Spoon look at each other's eyes with ambition and determination. Now, I like it because you kind of you finish the conversation there because that's all we need to know. I think other writers could have dragged out the conversation right until she leaves the table, but here you cut straight to Charlotte approaching Libet with a smile. So it's cutting to the chase. You're being quite concise with this.
Yeah.
Libet blazes at her with pride and curiosity. Charlotte giving Libet a handshake. I'm sorry you wait. I'm sorry for making you wait, Mrs. Libet. I'm Dr. Coteen. Why are you calling me that? It's your name. You always address me by CEO Mayor. Oh, that ... Yeah, I was trying to be a little funny, CEO Mayor. Well, it wasn't funny.
Yeah, now at this moment we are
I
saying like
agree with
these characters. We are trying to understand these characters. Now we know this Libet has some attitude, and and then we know Charlotte. All this dialogue is showing that she's like fidgeting. These are all red flags.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and that maybe they should have, and maybe Spoon should have considered maybe doing this with a little bit more prep time, since as I just mentioned with the whole dry glazer joke.
I was going to say one of my criticisms, but I don't know if it's criticism because it does work because it's funny. It's like it's a bit far fetched how Libet buys into this so easily.
No,
like, he doesn't even.
It's like Libet gets these warning signs. You know, we all get warning signs. It's like intuition when we are going to get into like some mess. So these ones are like warning signs that she didn't pay attention to. that this woman is not the Dr. Cotton, because this one shows like yours addressed me by CEO Maya. It means they are talking, and the real Cotton addresses her by CEO Maya, and then this one is calling her Libate. Yeah. So then she doesn't pay attention to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good though because it sets the tension straight away. I think the audience is thinking, "Oh no, it's going to go wrong."
Yeah.
You know, I like how you start with Libet being quite hard and quite, you know, aggressive towards Charlotte. So Libet looks at her Rolex watch. Charlotte's nervous. Libet, you're 3 minutes late, and if we were at the company, this meeting would be cancelled. What page 5?
The whole line coming up with the traffic. Weren't you supposed to use a plane here? This is the part where I think you're stretching it a little bit with the whole wait, that doesn't line up with what with like the real with the real doctor.
Yeah.
Like if you confuse your method of travel, then I think that's a bit too much of a giveaway.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think, Aisha?
I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, I was saying, I get where you're coming from, Chris, but I think because it's quite, I don't know, it's quite ridiculous, the situation. I think it kind of does work. I think it's good fun, and these things can happen, and you know, people do fall for these things, for these tricks in real life.
Yeah, and then at this moment we know that Libet has never met the real Dr. Cotton. She doesn't know how she looks like. This is what is showing.
Yes, exactly.
That's why all these people are like confusing her. Even the Dr. Cotton in this episode is not a real one; it's a fake also.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, the real doctor, right? You're talking about the other doctor that shows up. She's not even real, that right?
Yeah, she's also not real.
Yes, I figured that out.
Plot twist. I like it.
Yeah, that's why the ending. I said that the ending was interesting because like everybody, like you would say that like she has the upper hand, and you say that another character has the upper hand. Yeah, so this is why it's
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's keep reading. So, I apologize. I was caught up in traffic. Traffic? Weren't you supposed to be? Weren't you supposed to use a plane to here? Yes, sure. There were some delays during the landing. I like that. Is this Rambo? Lebet's face lights up at the mention of Rambo. Lebet, if you give him back his lungs, I can give you all my fortune.
Yeah, and then Charlotte pretends.
Yeah, I know. It's so mean. She has so much confidence, Charlotte. How can you do this when you don't even know what you're talking about? Crazy. So, you don't have to. I'm doing my job, Mr. Lebet. Oh, CEO Mayers. The hospital pays me enough money. Charlotte bends to touch Rambo. I'm going to give you back your lungs, fighter. Lebet smiles. See, I think this is so funny.
No, Rambo is Lebet's weakness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Rambo. The hospital financing department advised that you deposit 80% of the bills before the operation and pay the rest after the operation. Lebet, no problem for my grandson. I can clear the whole bill now. Just tell me the day of the operation. Charlotte smiles. She didn't expect this to be so easy. Page 6. Entrance of the party. A classy woman in suit and glasses sets in. She checks her watch and takes a loud sigh before she continues in. Spoon sees her. Shit. Okay, just by Spoon's reaction, we know this isn't good. And so the stakes are being raised even more, like I was saying earlier. By page 6, it gets even higher and higher. And that's what every good story does. It just keeps getting raised, doesn't it? He quickly raises heading towards the entrance. Spoon stands before the woman. Excuse, Dr. Katine. Who are you? The boy you're here for just fainted in the washroom.
That was supposed to excuse me. Yeah.
Dr. Katine panics. Where are the washrooms? Cuts to the washrooms. Spoon stands at the entrance, points inside. Spoon. In the last room, he lays there unconscious, poor boy. Dr. Katine enters. Spoon quickly locks the door. Exterior poolside. Charlotte plays with Rambo as Lebet winds up a call. Rambo spits on her face. She smiles in anger. Oh yeah, spits on her face. She smiles in anger. The money will be in the hospital's account in 5 minutes. How does the vet not see this? How can you not see that Rambo isn't happy?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like Rambo is saying it.
Yeah. No, this is really good so far. I don't really have any bad notes to say. I think the stakes are getting raised. We know what we can feel where it's going, which is good because you want to lead the audience to make them anticipate something is going to happen. And right now, we're anticipating Charlotte getting caught. Would you guys agree with that? That we're anticipating that Charlotte's about to get caught in the next few
Yeah.
minutes? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Aisha set up this anticipation. We're anticipating this thing to happen. But then what happens in a minute is something even greater, which is what makes it really good, which we'll get to in a minute. So the money will be in the hospital's account in 5 minutes. Rambo is so cute. You're the best grandmother in the world. Spoon draws to Charlotte. A Spoon winking an eye. Dr. Canteen is screwed. Lebet turns to Spoon. Charlotte's still in control. What is he talking about? Could be one of these jerks on weed. Talk about weed. What's wrong with young people nowadays? In our age, we took our sanity to the grave. I should get going. Rambo's operation details will be emailed to you tonight. The operation will be happening next week. Lebet, happy. Thank you, Dr. Katine. Charlotte, it has been my pleasure meeting you, CEO Mayor. Charlotte walks, smiles, got away with this. Rambo gets a convulsion falling off his wheelchair. What's a convulsion? What is that, Aisha?
I think that's when your muscles start shaking uncontrollably.
Then you have
Yeah.
like migration. What was the name? Headaches. Like you start to what's the name?
It's something like an attack. I
Some
tried
kind
to
of
like
attack,
figure out
yeah.
that asthma attack where he can't breathe. He's like,
It's,
yeah. And
it's
then
a
he goes down. Yeah.
violent involuntary contraction of the muscles, like typically like
Yeah.
during fever, heart attack, or epilepsy.
Yeah.
So Rambo gets a convulsion. So I would say maybe use a simpler word. Maybe I'm being stupid.
Yeah.
Maybe say instead of convulsion, maybe dumb it down and just say exactly what happens.
Yeah, I think in this
Lebet-
case he's having an asthma attack, since you
Or-
break out like a breather later on.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
It's
Yeah,
an
Lebet-
asthmatic attack.
Yeah. Doctor, tension escalates. Charlotte's eyes pop out. She looks back, indecisive of whether to help or leave. I like that. She's deciding, what do I do? What's my moral compass?
Yeah, this moment, is it Shan like advice here? I don't have to put tension escalates because the tension is already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a repetition. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I can
Thank you for that, Ishan.
I can see how this can be filmed as well. We just hold on her, like thinking, the cogs turning in her head, thinking what to do for a second. And then you can just hear Lebet, help, doctor. Charlotte rushes to Rambo. How? What is going on? You're a doctor, you should know. And Charlotte, she's probably shitting herself. Has he been getting these kinds of convulsions lately? Can you save him first? Charlotte has no idea of what to do, panics. What I like one word sentences, panics. I like reading those in scripts.
Mm.
Charlotte is
Okay.
completely stuck. Lebet, Dr. Katine, please do something. Spoon draws in, brings in an inhaler. Rambo gets better. Lebet kissing Rambo's face. You saved his life. Thank you, thank you. Charlotte pulls Spoons aside, whispering, how did you do that? I'm asthmatic, bitch. You didn't tell me Rambo was asthmatic. I told you he had respiratory issues. You never mentioned asthma. You made me look like a total idiot right in front of her. In gambling, you should always be on alert with Plan B in case Plan A backfires. So that's the first time we hear Spoon talking about gambling, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're starting to learn a bit more about him.
Mhm.
Okay, so page 9, this is where the police comes, I think. So this is the climax, I would say. This is the climax of the story. Although, actually, page 8 is probably the climax. Page 8 and page 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not gambling, spooky head. Spoon ignores the insult, sighs. Did she give you the check? She preferred paying cash at the hospital. There's the lie, by the way.
Yeah.
you need to lie. So if I were you, I would run because you screwed the whole deal. The real Dr. Katine walks towards them, all her hair messed. 2 police officers walk in. Charlotte pretends to be on a call and walks away, pointing at Spoon. There he is, officer. Arrest him. He tied me up and locked me in the toilet. Now, did he tie him up earlier? I thought.
He didn't. She lied.
It wasn't. I don't think it was mentioned.
Oh, she lied.
No, this
No,
shows
because,
she lied.
Got it.
No, Spoon was like, he was like, come inside. He didn't touch her. So
He didn't even touch her. But now this one is going to show us about this Dr. Cotton, that now she's a liar also. So it's like, yeah.
I get it. That makes sense now. Yeah. So it's showing more of her
So now
character.
we're going, yeah.
Okay. So Officer 1 raises his pistol, directing it towards Spoon. Charlotte walks past them, all attention on Spoon. You can't arrest him. He just saved my grandson's life. Get him, officer.
Yeah, now she has Liberty security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't dare, crazy woman. CEO, mayor, and ... And that is Rambo. Who are you? I'm Dr. Katine. Lebet laughs. Are you some kind of these cheap con stars? I'm serious. I came all the way from Spain to meet you about Rambo's chest surgery. Lebet seems confused. Dr. Katine shows her card. Lebet. Who is that blonde bitch then? Scanning around. Officers, find her. Charlotte is nowhere to be seen. Lebet sits. Spoon tries to run. Officers get him and handcuffs him. That blonde bitch made me wire all the money to her account. Dr. Katine recalls the blonde woman she found here, quickly runs, cuts to outside. And by the way, when it cuts to outside, you just write outside, which I found interesting. You don't go exterior.
I use subtitle because we are still in the same location.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she uses this earlier in the screenplay too, when she changes to locations.
And it's quicker, isn't it? Just to do it. It's easier to read if you just do it like this, I think, if it's in the
Because it's just continuing.
Got it, yeah. So Dr. Katine exits, find the car starting. Officers walk with handcuffed Spoon. Spoon smiles as the taxi leaves. Fade out, and that's how it ends.
Yeah.
So the police officer is fake too, right, Aisha?
Yes, everyone is fake. Like the way they showed up in time, and then Dr. Cotton is lying that she was like tied up and and beaten in the toilet. Yet we saw Spoon didn't even touch her.
Wow.
So now, yeah.
I guess, yeah. All these deceptions. I guess you could have done a bit of a better job, like explaining that they were deceptions. But yeah, that it is. But how you managed to like set all that up is, like set all that in writing is pretty impressive.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think what you've done is great, and
Thank you.
I have lots of questions about the characters, but like you say, we find out more in the next episode. So
Yeah.
Aisha, tell us what happens after this point then.
Oh,
We're all
after
dying to
this,
know.
Charlotte lives in the car, and then because she knows this woman has just like wired the money into her account, she sends the money to another account, to Josh's account, because Josh is her like secret lover, and then she trusts him so much. So when she sends the money to Josh's account, Josh also forwards the money to his wife. He's a married guy.
Oh.
And then Josh's wife is having an affair with Spoon.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So now this money is going to go all around back to Spoon, and also Libet is now protecting Spoon. So Libet Spoon is going to manipulate Libet to take him in because he saved his her grandson. Is going to start living with Libet. Yeah, and Libet is going to give him a job. So they are going to stay together. Yeah. So it's going to be inside Libet's house, the Spoon, as he does all these, as he plans everything, all the way to steal all the wealth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
but there is
brilliant.
going to be some love triangles around the big trio. Yeah, something like that.
And do you know what, that is so good, like, and you've planned this out so well. But also as a standalone short for 10 pages, even though there's all this backstory and we don't even find out all this backstory in these 10 pages, it still
Yeah.
works as a standalone short film because the audience can feel. We don't, as the audience, we don't always need to know all the backstory. As long as
Yeah.
we know that there is backstory, that you know, the writer knows, the storyteller knows, that we'll feel it. The audience member will feel that there's depth to this character, and then we can put two and two together. We can start speculating ideas. So for people who are writing a short film, think of the backstory, think of their relationships with each other. It doesn't always
Yes,
have to be in the script.
It's so important to give it. It's important when you're doing the characterization.
Yes,
you build a world for each character.
exactly. And I would say that for me, I don't know about you guys, it'll be interesting to hear what you guys think. The best thing about this script is the characterization. I'll put that at the top. The characterization is really good, and also how it unfolds. Each moment unfolds to the next, and the stakes keeps getting raised as it's unfolding. So, yeah, you got my votes, Aisha. Is a good script.
Thank you for that.
I would second put the dialogues. I like the dialogues.
Oh.
Dialogue, yeah.
Yeah, I like the dialogues. Yeah.
Actually, since I was limited by time here, I used a lot of exposition because I have a short time to tell a wider story, and there is no way I was going to bring all this information.
But Aisha, that's not the
Yeah.
case. How can I mean, like, not having an exposition? I mean, like, there are like on the nose dialogue. I'm not talking about that, but anytime that we use dialogue, we use it as a kind of a purpose of a exposition. We just say that, like, why would we use dialogue? We use it as exposition. I'm not, and again, I'm not talking about on the nose dialogue. That's boring. That's a bad thing. But like,
boring.
you really have to worry about that. Is it expositional or is it not? Do we have to think about that directly?
No, I just write, and then like Ollie gave us that that lecture about dialogues, and then I have to read out the lines aloud and see if they sound natural. Yeah, and then I try to make sure every character speaks in their own way according to their characterization. Like when we see Liberty speaks with attitude, when we see her talking with authority, with attitude, because she got money. And then when we see how Charlotte talks, she's manipulative. She is like she uses that blackmailing tone, like when she says she's about to be called, then she focuses on Rambo, like to manipulate Libet into accepting her, like so something like that. Now we know when we see Spoonies and how he talks, we see he's like how gamblers do. He's manipulative in his talk, and he always has something against you, to use something against you to to get you. Yeah, so I make sure every character has their style of talking according to their characterization. That's how I get the dialogues.
That's really good. You make it sound easy, Aisha, but you're right. When you have the character nailed in your head, it becomes easy the way they speak. It just comes natural.
Yes.
It sounds cliche, but they kind of come out of the page. The way when you're writing the dialogue, it just sounds. You know what they all sound like. They all sound different, and
yeah, actually, if you know the characters will speak to you when you're writing. So you'll have the dialogue, they will speak to you.
The best feeling in the world.
Because you know them. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can feel that with this script when you're reading it. You can feel all the characters. They all sound different, I would say.
They have their own distinctive voice.
And I would say actually, the fact that you were restrained to only 10 pages, you had to be more concise with your dialogue. I think it worked in your favor because I think you so easily could have fallen into the trap of writing more dialogue in this script, more explaining before the bet was made, or more explaining before Charlotte goes up to Libet. Yeah, you could have got them talking for longer, but I think it works better like this because it's more concise. It just cuts straight to the chase, gets straight to the point. So I think having these restrictions was a good thing for you. That's what I'm trying to say. It worked really well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other final thoughts about the screenplay? Any good things or anything she could do better for next time?
No, thank you,
Yeah.
Aisha, for sharing her screen.
If I may
Thank
drop
you,
my
Said.
10 cents.
Yeah, go on, Chris.
Overall, I think it's pretty good. The dialogue is pretty good. You have some you have some especially standout lines right there, such as that's my pray, and
Thank you.
among other lines. There is some some kind of on those expositions from Spoon, but out of considering like your page restrictions and like Spoon's character, he's probably the best. Him delivering it to Charlotte is probably the best way you could have delivered it.
Thank
Was there any
you.
was there any pages in particular do you want me to go to, Chris, that you were thinking about Spoon with his dialogue, maybe?
Particularly the one where he's talking about Charlotte's situation and why she's on board with why she would be on board with him with her helping.
Oh yeah.
What?
Like your son is in the hospital and then you just got an evacuation dose from your landlord.
Yeah.
So you're in no
Right there.
position to say no.
Well, this
that
stuff.
right there. That one's a little bit on the nose, but honestly, considering your restrictions,
Mhm.
and Spoon's character, you probably handled it the best way you could have.
Yeah. Thank you. I think I'll
Yeah.
I'll fix everything here in the next. I rewrite this without restriction to make it
Yeah.
more actually
I
following
think-
your advice here.
And the ending is like with the whole web of all these deceptions, like fake police, Constantine, the real Dr. Constantine, like lying about being tied up, and it's very impressive how you managed to set that up and have it be somewhat believable. But I think you could have explained it a little bit better. But again, given the restrictions, you have to leave it a little bit vague.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Some people might read and think it's a little bit vague, a little bit at times, like maybe, but I think that's a subjective thing, like how much information do you give to the audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean, Chris. But yeah, I thought for the restrictions you did a really, really good job.
Actually, if you give them the whole information, they will not want to watch the next episode. But when you leave them with questions, you end with cliffhangers.
Yes.
They'll know, oh, what happened? Why is
Yeah.
Spoon smiling when Charlotte is leaving? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand wanting to leave some questions, but I think maybe you left like one or two too many.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
given the restrictions, that's fine.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I think when you're writing, for everyone listening who's writing the next screenplay, you want to be one step of the audience. You want to know what they'll be thinking at each given moment. So what are they
Exactly.
anticipating, and what questions do you want them to be asking? And I think
Yeah.
you were considering that, weren't you, Aisha, as you were writing this? You were thinking about the
Yes,
audience.
I do. Because
Yeah,
you have
any
to
other
play with
final
the
thoughts?
audience's mind as they watch. Because if you don't, they think it's boring because they know everything.
Oh, 100%. That's where you get on the nose dialogue. That's when it becomes predictable, nothing surprising. You should always try and
Yes.
surprise the audience. So, you know,
Yeah.
get them anticipating something to happen. But when it happens, you do something even better than they expected. And I think you did that with this, you know, even more dramatic, even more unexpected than what they were waiting to happen. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the script. Yeah, no, Aisha, thank you so much for letting us read through this. This has been really good.
Oh, it's a
And
privilege. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you all
Do
for
you have-
giving me the time. Yeah, this
no,
I can't wait to make this better and share the longer version of this.
yeah, we'll have to have
Yeah.
another call actually and talk more about this.
Yeah.
Do you have any final like little tips for someone who's watching this recording, who's struggling to write their first short script? What tips would you have from someone who's maybe staring at a blank page and they don't know how to get started? Do you have any little tips you can give them?
Yeah, what I would say that if you're there staring at that black page, just write what's in your head at the moment. Initially, I didn't have this story when I started. This was not the story in my mind. Initially, the story I had was to have this Charlotte and Josh, like they are like lovers, and then they make maybe a bet to maybe it was about food and what eat food on the party. But then I remembered, since they are guests, they can bring some wealthy guests. And then what if they make a bet to maybe to steal from someone wealthy on the it could be a man, because you see Charlotte is like they are calling her, she's like a bitch. It could be a man. But then I had to like raise stakes and create more character. That I say, now let's get this wealthy woman, because women are vulnerable and they don't want something in return like men do. So she's like a strong character that she's not going to easily manipulate. Yeah, so that's how I got Libet. Then I was like, oh, now what's gonna happen again? So I had to bring in Rambo with some healthy complication. Then that took me back to giving Charlotte a child with who needs also an operation. So, and actually all this setup gave me this title of Heartstrings and Haste. It was Heartstrings and Haste. So I just put it together. Yeah. So
together, yeah.
Yeah. So the advice I give you, just write what's in the head. The moment you write what's in the head at that moment, something is going to come up slowly. So that's how I came up with this story, but it's not the initial story I had in the head when I was starting to write.
Yeah.
So don't feel stuck. Get on the page, write what is in the head. Doesn't have to be accurate. You arrange it in the process. As you write, you get an idea will pop up. Oh, use this, do this, bring this character up, connect them like this, and you have a story at the end of the day.
Brilliant. That's really good advice. Trust the process. Start writing.
Yes.
See what you discover.
Be patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was a really good answer, Aisha. Thank you for that. And yeah, I'm sure lots of people find that really valuable.
Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, guys. I think that's the end. Did anyone have any final thoughts, or shall we end? You guys happy?
Thank you.
Wrap up now.
That was a good meeting.
No worries. Yeah, thank you guys for all coming, and thank you, Aisha, for sharing your script. It's been
Thank
great.
you, Aisha.
Great reading it.
Thank you too. I really appreciate